This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Palette, and I have over 30 years of muff-busting experience. Today we're taking a look at Saya and Underworld's translation of Someone is Dead in Your Room. Phone call leads to discovery of mysterious death. If you do not know about Saya and Underworld, it is a Japanese translation blog where they translate essentially really short Japanese creepypastas. And from the bits that I've read of them so far, they're much more in line with what old school creepypasta used to be. However, old school creepypasta, since it died out, the only things that survive of it are the things that are good, or at least have some sort of interesting merit to them. So these stories are much more hit or miss, and it's more of just a collection of, it's a hodgepodge of really short stories. Some of them 2 paragraphs, sometimes literally less than that, and sometimes quite a bit longer. Today we're taking a look at what I would say is a long one for these stories, and even then it's not that long. It's interesting because these stories, we only get these English creepypasta stories, really, and there's all of these weird small stories from around the internet. That I think is a big blind spot for me, because I just think of the internet as being a place where people who speak English get together, and occasionally someone who speaks Spanish shows up and goes ja 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 ja. But today, let's read Someone is Dead in Your Room. An unsolved mystery case that really happened in Japan last year, 2013. It is intriguing as well as a little confusing. So, we have some poor grammar here, and you're just going to have to forgive that, because this is a fan translator, someone who just collects this stuff, and the wonky English is something that I think you just have to deal with, because you're getting this stuff translated, and that's a lot of work, really. On the evening of the 26th of June, 2013, a 36-year-old man was found hanged in a public housing complex apartment in Sakai City, Osaka. At first glance, there seems nothing out of ordinary about the case. However, the dead man was not a resident of the apartment, and the true owner of the room, a man aged 21, is somehow missing. Moreover, there was a mysterious man at the scene who disappeared immediately after the body was found. We also have a report of a man with a Kanto accent who called the apartment owner to inform him that someone is dead in his room. So we have a translator note here for those that don't know. Kanto accent. Osaka is in the Kansai region, so normally people there speak with a Kansai accent. The man with a Kanto accent sounds a little out of place. So there's the question of where are we getting these reports from? Because a mysterious man was seen. Well, who saw the mysterious man, and who had these reports of the man with the Kanto accent? But I think we're going to get to that a little bit later. Let's keep reading this. There are many unclear circumstances surrounding the discovery of the body, bringing to our mind the phrase, truth is stranger than fiction. Indeed. And I think that is what we're talking about when we're talking about these kind of realist horror stories, that you get these weirdly specific instances in real life that only, that sometimes feel surreal even though they're completely real. So I like the proposition of there is a man hanged in a room. I'm surprised they translated hanged correctly. There's a man hanged in a room that he doesn't belong to, and the person who owns that room has disappeared. That is a bizarre mystery. But let's press on. The persons involved. A. 46 years old. On the night of the 26th, his body is discovered inside B's apartment. B. 21 years old. The true owner of the apartment where A is found. As of the 28th, he is still missing. C. B's mother. She is vaguely acquainted with A. Okay, so the mother of the person who was in the apartment, the person who resided in the apartment, knew the person who was hanged in there. That's bizarre. D. C's common in-law husband and the first person to hear from B about the dead body in his room. So this in-law must have heard about it before B, in this case, disappeared. E, C's daughter and B's older sister. F, 24 years old, E's husband and B's brother-in-law. He is the one who finds the body and calls the police. Gene, F's co-worker. Together with F, he finds the body. H, a man in his 40s. He is in the room when F and G find A's body. When the police, while the call to the police is being made, he disappears from the scene. So we have this other man who is in his 40s, who just disappears and isn't acquainted with anyone. So here we have an image captured from Japanese TV of a police officer in front of the room where the man was found hanged. So all of this has been telling, which is what you would expect from a news report. And that's what this is, essentially. This is just reporting on something that has transpired. It is not trying to give a spin on it. It is just saying, here is something that is newsworthy. This is something that I would mercilessly punish if this was a first-person narrative and say, how dare you just tell me the story? But that's the literal job of this news report kind of thing. So we can give that complete forgiveness. Again, that's something where you need to know what your skills as a writer are and knowing how to hide those things. All art is fundamentally flawed, and that's why it's beautiful. So finding a way to hide your flaws is important. I write a lot of first-person narratives to hide my grammatical problems, and that really allows what I have to offer to be exemplified and hides where my faults are. If you really have a problem of telling instead of showing, then this kind of format is good for you. That's how you should aspire to write. Anyway, the summary of the events. It all began on the 26th when apartment owner B received a mysterious call from a man with a Kanto accent. Someone is dead in your room. Another person would have run back home straight away to check the truth of the matter. However, B did not do so, but instead call his mother's home. Curiously, the people in C's household did not go to check on the apartment immediately either. Like a game of Chinese whispers. Now that's a little racist. Chinese. B told D, D told C, and then C told her daughter E, and E in turn told her husband F the story of the dead body. Finally, F, taking his coworker G with him, went to B's apartment to investigate. So when they're saying the phrase Chinese whispers, I'm fairly certain what they mean is a game of what we in English would call telephone. And that is all you really need to know. I think that the naming convention of A, B, C, D, E, F, G is a little confusing. I wish that they just gave them fake names, but I guess this kind of does add an air of realism to it of we can't disclose their identities. I guess it's just a stylistic choice that they have chosen. There's a video called The Ghost Video uploaded. There's a critique of it uploaded by a YouTube channel called Twin Perfect. They do something similar in that where they don't disclose certain people's names. So I guess this is just a practice in Japan. Around 11 in the evening, when F and G arrive at B's apartment on the 10th floor of the complex and rang the doorbell, a stranger, H, believed to be in his 40s, opened the door. So I think we're supposed to assume that stranger H is the person who committed this. Why, we don't really know. And that's the horror of real life, is not knowing. When F and G told the man about the phone call, H said, "There is indeed a dead body in this room," and invited them in. F and G checked the room and found A, whose body was naked from the waist up. Oh, that's naked from the waist up. That's hardly naked at all. That's not the fun part. And who was hanging by the neck, by an electrical cord from the curtain rail. They immediately called the police, but meanwhile, H had disappeared. Now that's spooky because if we're to infer that Stranger H was the person who was instrumental in all of this happening, if they are the person who hanged this body, then F and G were talking to them and just kind of disappeared. That would spook the shit out of me. The sequence of events. The apartment owner B receives a call from an unidentified man who says, "Someone is dead in your room." Then, the owner B makes a call to his mother C home. Then, the story gets passed around from Mother C's partner D, Mother C, Sister E, to brother-in-law F. Brother-in-law F and his coworker G go to check the apartment. When they ring the doorbell, Stranger H appears, who says to them, "There is indeed a dead body in this room." Then, A's hanged body is found in the room. Then, brother-in-law F calls the police. Meanwhile, Stranger H disappears. Then, the owner B also disappears and cannot be reached. So I like the way that the story is laying everything out in multiple formats. Hopefully you're reading along and you can actually see how this is all laid out on the website. I really kind of like the format that they chose. It feels very scientific, very methodical. I like the notes on it. Anyway, some questions. Why A, who was found dead, was in the house of B, who was a complete stranger to him? So rather than give you an answer to that, they are just asking that question because, again, this is a news report kind of thing. And that's what a news report would say. A lot of local news, I don't know about you guys, but my local news, they'll ask you how you feel about things, like go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook and tell us how you feel about controversial issue A. It's kind of doing that same thing here, where it's inviting you to do the heavy lifting and theorizing. This is very much so an unsolved mystery kind of deal. In response to an interview by TV Asahi, Asahi, y'all like some Asahi beer? 'Cause I like some Asahi beer. 'Cause I'm a weeaboo. I don't really like beer, but I like Asahi beer 'cause it was in Ava. C revealed. A was C's old friend. C's family had been planning on moving in with B, and A had been asking to help them and stay overnight in the apartment. When asked who H was, C replied she had no idea. Again, C was the mother, H was the stranger. Who was the man with a Kanto accent who first informed B of the dead body? Some speculate that it was H, but we have yet to ascertain his identity. The owner of room B might hold the key, but has since disappeared and cannot be reached. Oh man, currently cannot be reached. C also explained that to a TV Asahi that we have received calls from him, B, but when we try to call him, he doesn't answer the phone. So B is not dead. That's weird. The case is full of unsolved mysteries that the police is probing both murder and suicide angles. So I've been approaching this, as I always do, from a creative perspective of, this is a real story. This is a real story, but it was made by someone. This is apparently a real thing that had occurred. And if you actually go to the site where this is posted below, there are sources. And the sources are motome.naver.jp and a website called j-cast.com. So, and both of these are in Japanese. So this is apparently a real story, and you have to take this for what it is. This is not a typical plot structure for a typical story. That is not what we deal with here when we're talking about realist horror. And this is allegedly a real incident. we have to take this story for what it provides to us. If this was a story written by a person, I would feel as though I want the answers to be reined in just a little bit, because it's nice to have a handful of possible options as to what all of this could mean, which is much better than full ambiguity or complete certainty. Having that nice little middle ground of a handful of options is the best. The story doesn't provide us that, because that's not what the goal of this news article is. If you were writing this, and you aren't concerned with truth, fudge it a little bit and kind of give people a little bit more of a definite conclusion. But I think when you search out creepy stories, you kind of get numbed to all of it, and you want an answer to everything. I like this story because it does have this refreshing taste of just, I have no idea what's going on here. And maybe that's subjective, but let me know what you think about this kind of story. Does this work for you? Because it's working for me, and I enjoy it. Do I want every story to be like this? No. I don't want every story about in a news article sort of way to have no definite conclusion. But if you look at my catalog of work, I have some things that even stretch to be called horror, and I like it that way. I want it to stay that way. I don't want it to be constrained by the same rules every time. So this should be uploaded to coincide with the Undercooked analysis episode about Saya and Underworld. So go check that out if you haven't. If you're here from Undercooked Analysis, hi. And let's get on to our real sponsor of the day. Enron. Enron. Investing in diversity stock energy trading with equity for the future of energies investing.